Wood is going to pitch and bat ninth against the 37-33 Nationals, who just swept the Pittsburgh Pirates in very impressive fashion. Washington's a very good ball club, but Joe, some feel this is their Achilles heel. Defensively, the Nationals have had all kinds of problems, and as a result, they've made a dramatic change at shortstop tonight.
Yeah, Ian Desmond's been playing awful, and not just offensively, but defensively. He's cost them some games at shortstop. So Espinosa will play shortstop. Anthony Rendon will play second. You know, Escobar, who's on fire offensively, will stay at third base, primarily because he's better at third than he would be at second base. So, yeah, Espinosa at short, that's a big change.
Ryan Zimmerman also out with plantar fasciitis. Michael Taylor starts in left for the injured Jason Worth. He's had wrist surgery. And out of the mound comes Steven Strasburg. It's been a while for the Nationals right-hander. As Joe mentioned, his last start came on May 29th. He managed just 16 pitches in that start against the Cincinnati Reds. And there you see what he's done against the Braves. Among all teams with 5 starts, this is the highest ERA for Steven Strasburg, and it's against Atlanta.
Yeah, on 4-7 lifetime. They've owned him in 17 starts, 6 homers in that stretch. He'll be 27 next month, 6'4", 230, out of San Diego State. He was the number one in the draft in '09 out of San Diego State. And that start in Cincinnati, when he came out of the game, he only lasted 1 inning. Right-handers hitting .340, left-handers .308. Still throws hard, maybe not 100 miles an hour like he used to, but still in the mid-90s with a curveball and changeup.
Here's the umpiring crew for the series in Washington. Sam Holbrook has the plate. Ed Hickox at first. Mike Estabrook is at second, and the crew chief is Dana Demuth. Strasburg does catch a break. You remember the start he had against the Braves in Atlanta. It was oppressively hot, horribly muggy, and he had to run the bases. Davey Johnson had to take him out of the game with dehydration. As I said a moment ago, there were some reports that the heat index on the field before the thunder showers was 115 to 119 degrees, factoring in the 98-degree temperatures and the humidity in Washington. It has cooled off dramatically since. So a much more comfortable night for Steven Strasburg, and Matt Williams is hoping he has a comfortable start.
Yeah, much more comfortable for a guy whose nickname is 75 and Sunny. So he's caught a real break here in his first start back from the disabled list.
So 2 teams playing good ball will match up. Washington's won 3 straight. The Braves have won 3 straight. Both teams coming off sweeps. The Nationals swept the Pittsburgh Pirates. The highlight, of course, the Max Scherzer no-hitter. The Braves coming off their 3-game sweep at home versus the New York Mets. And we'll always keep our eyes on Bryce Harper, who is having an MVP season for the Washington Nationals in right. Jace Peterson leads off at .284 for the year. And the first of the night is off the plate. We're underway. That would split the dish. Peterson took it, and it's an even count. 75 degrees at first pitch. A 20-degree difference from 7 o'clock when the rains began. And downstairs for Jace. 2 balls and a strike.
Jace had a real good eye at the plate since moving into the leadoff spot. He's been patient. Then again, there are times where he's had leadoff singles to start a game on the first pitch of the game.
High fly ball towards center. Span's going back onto the running track at the wall. He's going to have just enough room. And Peterson pulls it 5 feet. It's a leadoff homer. Instead, it's a long, loud first out of the game.
The outfield you would expect to be treacherous, and Denard Span was kind of measuring his steps as he was headed to the warning track, because they dumped all the water out in left and left center field. And we'll keep an eye on everybody's footing to see how they react to baseballs and how the baseball skids on the grass.
Cameron Maybin takes a strike. Braves center fielder now at .288 for the year, with 5 home runs and 35 knocked in.
Strasburg made one rehab start at AA Harrisburg on June 17th. 5 innings, 4 hits, gave up a run, struck out 6. But these Nats have been playing, as you said, good baseball. They slowed down a real hot Pirates team. They have 100 hits as a team in their last 9 games. Their pitchers have thrown 24 straight shutout innings. So the Braves are hot. So is Washington.
Strasburg readies and delivers, and Maven fouls it on a play. Thought the Braves did an excellent job in that New York series of making those hard-throwing Mets pitchers work in the early innings. It was hot, it was humid in Atlanta, and I think that took away some of their starch in the 3-game sweep by the Braves. When you factor in the power that a DeGrom, Syndergaard, and Harvey have in the 3 starts against the Braves, those 3 men struck out a total of 17 men combined.
Yeah, that was great work by the offense.
Now Maben's working Strasburg here with 1 out and the base is empty. And he keeps the at bat alive. Foul ball at third. Bo Porter will track that one down on the warning track. Mentioned Freddie Freeman disabled. No Freddie's watching the game tonight. We miss you, Freddie. Get well soon. We'll see you back at Atlanta. Joey Trdoslavich was brought up from AAA to take Freddie's roster spot. Pitch. And Maben will see a 10th pitch in this at bat.
Well, Strasburg tried to put a little extra on that one. 98 on that pitch. You would assume that even though he had a rehab outing, they're going to watch his pitch count closely tonight.
And he got Maben to swing and miss. Good battle, but Maben is struck out, and 2 out for Nick Markakis.
Good pitch. Almost wanted it in. He delivered it there and had a little late life on it too.
It took Strasburg 11 pitches to retire Maben. Now Nick Markakis stands in. And right back where it came from on the first pitch. So no hitter for Steven Strasburg tonight. Markakis takes care of that, and A.J. Pierzynski will hit with 2 outs.
Nick was 3 for 18 on the homestand. Not one of his better homestands, but he's still hitting .293, and that base hit will help. Gets his road trip started in the right direction.
Now A.J. Pierzynski bats. Nationals Park, one of 2 big league parks he doesn't have a homer in. Be nice to see him jump on Strasburg early tonight with 2 outs. And a check swing out of play, strike 1. Remember early in the season, Pierzynski began the year with a 13-game hitting streak. A lot of his early season good work came against the Nationals. He's hitting them at a .400 clip.
Yeah, 6 for 15. And a shift on for him.
And he tried to bunt toward third. Smart play. But he fouled it off. Strike 2.
And with that, they don't have to worry about him bunting again.
Fouled it straight back. It's still 0-2.
It was a pretty good swing and a 97 heater that was about shoulder high. For AJ to be able to foul that off, pretty impressive.
Short lead at first by Nick Markakis. And that one missed outside for AJ. 1-2 your count now. Braves start play tonight, 5th in the league in average, 6th in the league in runs, despite being dead last in the National League with 41 home runs.
That's where the loss of Freddie, I mean, there's a lot of ways that Freddie not being in the lineup hurts this ball club, but he's your home run leader, RBI leader. Most home runs in the lineup tonight, 5, Cameron Maybin.
Pitch number 20 for Steven Strasburg. And AJ smacks it towards short, and the flip to second is in time. And that'll retire the side. Markakis has a 2-out single. That's all for Atlanta. And Alex Wood goes to work in the bottom of the first. The 37 and 33 Washington Nationals. Their Academy Sports lineup features Denard Span leading off. Anthony Rendon. Our first look at Rendon this year. Remember, he was hurt first 2 series between these clubs. Escobar and Harper have been their 2 hottest hitters. Ramos, Espinoza, Tyler Moore, Taylor, and Strasburg the bottom third, and Alex Wood will gun for win number 5 tonight.
He makes his 14th start of the year. You see his good work on the road. A 2.58 ERA, 4-1 mark. Lifetime 3-2 against Washington. 2 starts against them already this year. His 4 keys to pitching success this evening. Number 1, same as Julio. Julio was aggressive, got ahead in the count. His last start made a huge difference for him. And number 2, 34 Skidoo. If number 34, Bryce Harper, comes up with a chance to do some damage, you got to pitch around him. Can't let Bryce Harper beat you.
See the work for Alex in the early innings of a ball game. That's important when facing the Nationals, who scored 11 first inning runs against the Pirates in their sweep. 9 of those came against Charlie Morton, who didn't get out of the first inning. And Span hits a high fly ball deep toward right center field. Maybin on the run. That ball is high off the scoreboard. And Denard Span glides into second with a leadoff double.
He's now 9 for 25 against Atlanta pitching this year. 2 of his 5 homers, and almost hit another one there. Fastball up and out away from him. He's now hitting 8 of his last 9 games.
14 doubles for Span, and he's in scoring position for Anthony Rendon. When you see the numbers of Rendon, it's understandable to a certain degree. He missed a lot of time at the start of the year. This is only his 17th game and his 62nd at bat. And that's the confounding thing for the Washington club. They really haven't had their envisioned lineup together much of all this year. A lineup that would have Jason Worth and Ryan Zimmerman playing. And Rendon shoots one down the right field line. That's in for a hit. Span's going to score. And it's 1-0 Washington. Back-to-back hits begin the game for the Nationals. And they're up to their first inning tricks again.
That's what they did to the Pirates back a 9-run inning Sunday. Pretty much took over the game. Another pitch up. Rendon trying to move him over from second to third, gets a base hit.
So Washington has a lead, and now you're in the teeth of the two hottest hitters, Escobar and Harper. You know, Escobar 4th in the National League in hitting at .331. Bouncing ball toward Uribe on the first pitch. And Peterson an easy turn for the double play. Alex needed that. Got the ball on the ground. Base is empty for Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper having an unbelievable start to the year. A legitimate Triple Crown candidate in the National League, and he is our T-Mobile game changer.
Top 5 in a lot of good categories offensively, and tearing up the Braves. 10 for 22 with 3 homers on the year. 24 homers already, a career high.
3rd in the league in average, 2nd to Giancarlo Stanton in homers, and 2nd in runs batted in to Stanton. And that's outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. A double by Span, a single by Rendon, a double play makes it 1-0 Nationals. 2 outs.
FP Santangelo, who does TV work for the Nationals, played for the Giants in his career, including a teammate of Barry Bonds. He said, you know what, right now Bryce Harper is doing Barry Bonds type stuff, and I can't believe teams pitch to him.
Line to second, and Jace Peterson climbs the ladder, and that retires the side. A run on 2 hits. Washington strikes first, and we head to the 2nd inning. mentioned a couple of times the big weekend that the Nationals have with the Pirates. There was some question about this Nationals club, Joe, because they hadn't played a team that had gone to the playoffs last year in a long time. I think only one series all year before the Pirates came to town. Well, looking at those numbers, it seems like Washington answered whatever questions they had about strength of schedule.
No question about it. When they've got their guys in the lineup that they want to have playing, that includes Desmond, who's not playing well, they're a force. But even Jason Worth now is the guy missing in action. They get Desmond going after maybe giving him a few days off. They can continue this role.
And Strasburg, with an early run to play with, will face Uribe, Chris Johnson, and Andrelton Simmons in the Braves' second. Uribe, a little tapper. Espinosa, tricky spin, made the play. And Uribe is the first out.
Espinosa's a better shortstop than he is second baseman, than he is third baseman. He has probably the best arm on their infield, and that includes Escobar.
And much more sure-handed than Ian Desmond, who not only has made errors that show up on the scoreboard, but has been really indecisive, we're told, defensively. That's cost the Nationals some runs and maybe a couple of games too. So he may get an extended rest to clear things up for Washington. Chris Johnson, base is empty, shoots one over first the other way, and he's aboard. Harper cuts it off in the corner, and Chris Johnson has the second Atlanta hit. That snaps an 0 for 16 for Chris.
Well, and it's Chris Johnson at his best. That pitch was middle of the plate, outer third perhaps, and classic Chris Johnson, little inside out stroke right on the barrel. See Bryce Harper kind of gingerly going over to make sure he didn't slip and fall over where there was standing water earlier.
Remember, you hurt a hamstring here against Tampa Bay on a wet playing surface. Andrelton Simmons bats and takes a strike. Arguably the Braves' hottest hitter right now. 7 hits in his last 11 at bats.
Stop there.
Ramos saved the base. And the count to Andrelton, 1 ball, 1 strike.
All kind of came back to him too. That helped a lot.
Two-hour, 12-minute delay before first pitch. Popped up. Espinosa at short is there. He's got it. And Simmons is retired. And 2 outs. Washington got a scare the other day, June 18th.
Yeah, it was on wet grass. It was really his right foot that went out from under him, which put all kinds of torque and weight on his left leg. And the left knee is the one that he had operated on to clean up some stuff a year ago. And while they called it hamstring, it was more knee related than anything else. And that's why they were really checking out right field when the rain finally stopped tonight.
Yuri Perez bats. He's 4 for 13 as a Brave. Yeah, Matt Williams and the grounds crew. Chiefs checked the outfield not once but twice tonight to see how the field was draining tonight. Many ballparks, they dump the tarp in shallow right field. In this case, in Washington, they dumped it in shallow left. Bryce Harper plays right. 1 ball, no strikes. Chris Johnson at first, and a little pop over first, foul, and an even count.
Here he had a nice homestand and a good series against the Mets. 4-13. He had a real nice catch in foul territory at Turner Field, crashing into the wall. And is a former National.
1-1 pitch. High and tight. 2 balls and a strike. Alex Wood, Braves pitcher, is on deck. Perez thought it was high, and the count 2-2.
He hasn't locked in his breaking ball yet, but his changeup's been decent and his fastball has been just fine. Let's see how this breaking ball works.
To short. Espinosa's got it. Flipped to second in time. And the Braves are done in the second. No runs, a hit, a man left. 1-0 Washington early. '15 Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot now at Braves.com. Voting is exclusively online and available on your computer, tablet, and smartphone. Vote up to 35 times at Braves.com for your Atlanta Braves. Washington with a run on 2 first-inning hits against Alex Wood. And in this bottom of the second inning, Ramos, Espinosa, and Tyler Moore are coming up.
Despite that horrible storm that moved through, high winds, torrential rains, still a very good crowd here. They're averaging 32,800 plus per date. See a lot of Braves fans here, as always, too.
The Nationals up a game and a half in the division over the Mets. Braves are 2 out. A strike to Ramos.
I mean, for the Braves to come in here and face Strasburg, Zimmerman, and Pfister, they just went through DeGrom, Syndergaard, and Harvey with the Mets. That great offense, great approach, excellent at bats. So Jason Worth there in the background with his hand in a cast.
So I'm guessing seeing all those guys throw as hard as they do for the Mets means they won't be intimidated by the velocity of Steven Strasburg tonight.
Not at all. But the Braves also got great pitching. 8 innings of 1-run ball from Whistler.
Ramos rolls out to second. He's the first out of the inning.
Perez gave up a couple of homers, but the offense bailed him out in his start. He gave up 4 runs, but the Braves won 6-4. And then Julio Teheran, in my opinion, they pitched his best game of the year. 7 innings of 1-hit, no-run ball in the finale on Sunday. So it's got to be a team effort, not just offense. It's got to have the Braves. We got to have some good pitching to match up to.
And the last time through the rotation, the Braves have done exactly that. First the pitch to Danny Espinosa. It's lifted in the air toward Perez and left. And Yuri in a few steps. He's got it. 2 out. Quick peek at the Braves defensive lineup. Some different names in different spots. Perez in left. Chris Johnson at first for Freddie Freeman. Last time through the rotation for the Braves, starters a 193 earned run average. The bullpen last 5 games, 1 earned run, 12 1/3 innings.
Well, that's a great improvement, isn't it?
So right, it is working hand in hand right now for Atlanta, which trails by a run. Here's Tyler Moore in for an injured Ryan Zimmerman, who's out with plantar fasciitis.
Even the move to first base hasn't kept Zimmerman off the DL. Can't stay healthy.
0-2 is fouled straight back by Tyler Moore. That's upstairs. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Moore was drafted as a first baseman, but with Zimmerman here, with Adam LaRoche here, place for him to play is the outfield, and they're in the process of converting him. Tony Tarasco has been charged with that responsibility. But with the injury, he's back at first base. One ball, 2 strikes. And that's headed for the seats.
Last start for Alex against Boston. He got a no decision. The team won 5-2. 6 innings. He only gave up 1 earned run. Struck out 7.
And a swing and a miss. Alex Wood takes care of Tyler Moore, his first strikeout and his first 1-2-3 inning. He'll bat first for Atlanta in the 3rd inning, down 1-0 early.
top of the third. A big series in the NL East when it comes to the standings as we take a look. Atlanta sits just 2 games back of Washington, has some serious chance to gain some ground in the division. A sweep would ultimately give them the lead. But if you ask the Braves, that doesn't even go through their minds. They don't let it go through their minds. They say, you know what, we got to focus on each at bat. We have to play the way we're playing. Good baseball, that's timely hitting, good defense. You come in here thinking sweep, and the Nationals could do some damage to you.
And that's already happened, Christina. The Braves, not because they were thinking about sweep, just got swept by a Nationals team that's playing better than Atlanta at the time we came to Nationals Park. Braves are 1-5 against these guys this year. Time to turn that around starting tonight. And Alex Wood is down on strikes. Second strikeout for Steven Strasburg. And that's how the Braves' third starts.
Yeah, but this run all got turned around in that game in Atlanta when the Braves had a, I don't know, 12-2, 10-3 lead or something, and got beat. Crazy turnaround. That seemed to get Washington pumped up, and they've been playing hot against Atlanta ever since.
Yeah, it was April 28th. Braves had a huge lead in that game. It looked like Washington was going to get run out of the ballpark. Atlanta led 9-1 after 2 innings. And then the hard slide by Andrelton Simmons into third base seemed to really fire up the Nationals. They came back and won 13-12. The worst part of that was, from the Braves' perspective, Dan Uggla came off the bench and started that game. Singled, tripled, and homered, and drove in 5 runs, including the big 3-run homer in the 9th that proved to be the deciding blow. Washington won the next night 13-3. And they've been 29-20 since, after a dreadful start to the year. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And Peterson fouls it back. He took Denard Span to the 4-0-2 sign in center his first time up.
Within the division, Washington, including their success against Atlanta, they're 17-12 against the East, but 11-5 at home against the East. It's very New York Met-like.
Shuffling players in and out of the lineup is nothing new for Matt Williams. They had similar problems last season with regards to their club's health.
Breaking ball a little better this inning. Jace just got a piece of that one.
But the Braves are making Strasburg work. Pitch 42 is the strikeout. High fastball got Peterson to chase. 2 outs.
Ramos wanted it in. This one took off, riding up and out of the zone. Chase couldn't lay off.
So Strasburg with 3 strikeouts. First man he struck out was Cameron Maybin. But Maybin saw 11 pitches. And that's low and away. 1 ball, no strikes. Mets are winning tonight. They're in Milwaukee. That's 2-1 in the 6th. Upstairs. Ball 2.
The Mets trying to snap a 5-game losing streak.
And the woeful Brewers pitching staff might be just what that struggling Mets offense is looking for. Swing and a miss. Milwaukee starters have an ERA of almost 8 in the last 9 games. Fouled straight back. It's 2-2 to Cameron Maybin. Ramos took a shot.
Cameron barely got a piece of that. That must mean it got just over the glove and maybe got him on the shoulder. Yeah. Oh, he turned. He kind of turned toward first base a little bit. Oh man, that had to hurt. Woo. Right on the point of the shoulder.
How come he's got the flap on the right shoulder but not the left? See it? Doesn't have one on the glove side.
Well, his chest protector's a little wider over there. That's fine. But man, he turned and opened up that unprotected shoulder. It stayed square to Strasburg. Maybe it hits the padding.
Bouncing ball toward third. Escobar has a strong arm, and he shows it off to retire the side. 3 up, 3 down for Steven Strasburg, who leads by a run, and he's due second when we come back. It might not be the only treacherous spot here at Nationals Park. Cameron Maybin had a slip in the right-hand batter's box.
Remember, he had that strained area in the groin, upper thigh region a few weeks ago. Hopefully that wasn't aggravated there.
Young Michael Taylor leads off and had a big cut. Didn't get it. Strike one. Taylor's the Nationals' second-rated prospect, according to Baseball America. That publication rates this kid the best defensive outfielder in the Washington system. They've said that of him for the last 5 years. And a shot to center on an 0-2 pitch. And the ball got by Maybin, and now Taylor's on his way to second. Now Strasburg could try to bunt him to third with the top of the order coming up. That hurts.
I don't know what happened out in center, but you can see that this pitch was shoulder high, and he still got up on top of it. Cameron had it played off to the side a little bit. When it came up, hit right off the heel of his glove.
A single and an error. And now Strasburg will try to bunt. He's got 2 sacrifices this year. Pickoff play hits Taylor right in the leg, but no advance because Peterson came to a sliding stop in shallow right. Last check, the Braves had 11 pickoffs on the bases this year, and Woods had a handful of them at second base.
It's one way to slow him down.
Now he's going to try to steal third. Throw there is late.
I guess it didn't.
His 8th stolen base. And the 24th for the Washington ball club.
Good jump. You better make it. He did. High throw, probably the difference there. That surprised everybody.
That's a tough throw for AJ too, isn't it? Trying to throw over a 6'5" man in the batter's box.
Sure is.
See AJ, unlike Ramos, with the double flaps protecting the shoulders on his chest protector. And now Strasburg, a tapper back to the mound. Wood looks the runner back and gets the out at first. One away, top of the order, and Denard Span. Span doubled and scored in the opening inning. The 24th game that Washington has scored in the first inning. They've won 18 of those previous 23 games. Infield comes in with one out.
Span got a pitch upstairs that he hit off the wall in right center his first time up. And obviously, with the infield in, Alex wants to keep the ball down, try to get him to hit something on the ground to one of those guys, rather than give him a chance to lift something to the outfield.
AJ smothered that. 2 balls and a strike.
Right-handers 289 against Alex for the year. Lefties pretty high too, though, 282. 5 homers allowed, none to lefties.
Natural foul, and the count 2 balls, 2 strikes. Span came up with the Twins. Washington got him after the 2012 season for Alex Meyer. Last year was Denard's best year at the plate for Washington. He hit .302, scored 94 runs, stole 31 bags.
Nice pitch, a good breaking ball. Maybe if you put that away from him, he'll chase it. The last 2 have been more toward him to drop down in the inner part. They've been down. They've been good pitches. If he could make that same pitch away, he might get a comebacker or a weak ground ball to the left side, or a miss.
Span, though, a tough guy to strike out once every 10 at bats. He's only struck out 20 times all year. 2-2. And pass Simmons into left field, a base hit. Multi-hit game for Denard Span. He scores Taylor, and Washington's lead is now 2-0.
That might have been that breaking ball away, but it was up. And when it's up like that, you can fight it off a little bit, serve it the other way. With the infield drawn in, he put a pretty good swing on it. Just couldn't get the tilt on that one that he did to the ones down and in.
So the single on the 0-2 pitch, the error and stolen base draws the infield in, and Span took advantage with his 4th multi-hit game in his last 9 played. He's got 21 RBIs, and Washington now leads by 2 in the 3rd. Here's Rendon. That's outside. 1 ball, no strikes. Breakout year for Rendon last season. 153 games, 21 homers, and he scored 111 times. He has an RBI hit tonight.
He was the best player on their team at the end of last season, and that includes everybody on their roster. He was 5th in the league in the MVP voting, and they sorely missed him at the beginning of the season with that bad knee.
Rendon, the 6th pick in the 2011 draft.
And I'm told that he might have been the #1 first-round pick had it not been for another injury while at Rice.
Ground ball, foul past third.
I believe that's where he went to school.
Yes. I mentioned this a couple times when we played the Nationals. Don't forget the Braves tried to sign Rendon.
Yeah.
They drafted him in 2008 in the 26th round. That was when he was a high schooler. He bet on himself and bet right. Line pass short into left field. A base hit for Rendon. He's 2 for 2.
As one baseball person said about Rendon in college when he was hurt, not sure if people were going to take him in the first round. They weren't sure what position he projected to play. And one baseball person said, he plays hitter.
Yeah.
And boy, does he ever. Not a bad pitch at all. That one was down and raked it into left.
If he gets going, look out. He's 2 for 2. Span's 2 for 2, and now Escobar bats. The Braves doubled him up in the opening inning. Escobar's really found a home with the Nationals. They've left him alone at third base for the most part, and he's responded with a great year at the plate. Already 3 5-hit games for Escobar this year.
It's crazy. And this June, there are the numbers. 8 multi-hit games this month. He and Harper this month have been crazy hot.
And that's the duo Wood will have to face, barring a double play by Escobar. No balls and a strike. It's 1-1. Very aggressive cut and fouled straight back. It's 1-2 by Escobar. Our first final is in the league. Cardinals beat Miami down in South Florida. 4-3 your score.
Gosh, Miami led that game 3-0.
Stanton hit a home run tonight, but couldn't hold the lead. Escobar, good eye. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Pirates 7-6 lead the Reds in the 6th inning at PNC Park. Dodgers Cubs no score in the 7th. LA can't score for Zach Greinke, who's pitching tonight. Cubs beat Clayton Kershaw last night. Mets still lead Milwaukee 2-1 at Miller Park. Here it's 2-0 Nationals, 3rd inning. Long inning for Alex Wood. And AJ, a nice stop, smothered that. Full count.
They've already got 2 on the board. Would they send the runners here, hoping that Escobar, the way he's been swinging the bat, puts the ball in play and gets Harper up there? The only problem with that is if they somehow leave a base open, there's no way Harper would hit. So maybe they stay put.
Not going, and bounced foul.
Escobar's hit into, with that double play, his first time up tonight. He's hit into 8 double plays. That's second on their team. Only Ryan Zimmerman's hit into more with 10.
Up the middle, Simmons has it. Peterson will try to turn it, bobbled it, and couldn't complete the play. So the Braves get the force out of Rendon, but now a decision on how you handle Harper.
Just couldn't get the ball out of his glove cleanly, or it's an easy double play.
A.J. Przinsky out for a word with Alex Wood. 1st and 3rd for Harper. And Washington already up 2-0.
Yeah, this is the Tom Glavine. There's a base open. It's just not first base.
Harper lined out to Jace Peterson, who jumped to catch his drive in the 1st inning.
When F.P. Santangelo was talking to us about Harper of late, he was talking about how he's taking pitches an inch off the plate inside, an inch off the plate outside on pitches that look like you think, boy, he probably should have offered it that 0-2, and yet you see it on the Fox tracks or whatever, and you realize, oh, he was right. He eyeballed that pretty well.
54 walks for Bryce Harper. And the 2nd highest on base percentage in the league. Paul Goldschmidt a percentage point higher than Bryce Harper at the start of play tonight. And Atlanta's going after him. It's no balls, 2 strikes. This is pitch number 25 for Wood. And Harper shoots it toward Markakis in right. He drifts back and makes the play. Atlanta pitched to Bryce Harper with men at the corners, and Bryce flies out. Washington adds a 2nd run. We go to the 4th.
The Nats 2-0, and they are out without Freddie Freeman for this series. This road trip was put on the DL today with a hurt wrist, and I talked to some of the players today, and they said, we know we can't replace Freddie, but they're very confident in the fact that they've got guys on this team that can step up and get the job done at the plate and at first base. And Freddie Gonzalez talked about the versatility of this team coming into play once again, as it has all season long. He says, we're going to do what we've been doing, go with the favorable matchup with the pitcher, run those guys out there. I feel good about putting them out there because they've been doing a good job all season long, guys.
I think that's exactly right, Christina. This might be Freddie Gonzalez's finest hour. The way he's mixed and matched and kept everybody involved and everybody fresh. Atlanta 35-35 so far this year. Maybe one of the biggest surprises in the National League, considering all this club went through this offseason.
And the flexibility has been one of the hallmarks of the team.
Fourth inning, Nick Markakis leads off. He picked up the Braves' first hit, a first pitch single in the first inning. 2-0, Washington leads it. And downstairs, 2-1. That's foul to the left, and 2-2.
Command has not been a problem for Strasburg in this regard. He hasn't walked a lot of guys, just 14 all year, and now 48, almost 50 innings. But the problem has been he's given up a .325 batting average. He's been wild in the zone.
That's pulled into right field, a base hit. Markakis is 2 for 2. Rendon couldn't get to it, didn't dive for it. Markakis aboard to lead off the inning.
Well, it was a good swing by Nick on a breaking ball. Stayed on it. And while he hit it hard to Hopper, I think it showed us right there that Rendon, with that knee, not quite the range you would expect from him normally.
So the tying runs in the batter's box, A.J. Pierzynski. He bounced into a force play that ended the opening inning. 3 hits for Atlanta now, and A.J. fouls it back. Back to Christina's report on Freddie Freeman. Hope Freddie's watching the game tonight. Everybody misses you. Can't wait to get you back in the lineup. On 1 to the Braves catcher. He was granted time.
There are a lot of bugs flying around after the rain.
Oh, 2. Those are the Washington Gannets.
Yes, they are.
Short lead at first, the pitch. And A.J. shoots one toward left. That's headed to the stands, out of play. And we'll do it again.
They are certainly playing A.J. to pull on the ground, but the outfield actually has him shaded a little toward left. And Taylor way over toward the line in left field.
No swing. And 1-2. We pointed out A.J. Pierzynski's chest protector. We also showed you Ramos's chest protector. Joe pointed out the left side has a little more protection than the right. The right's his throwing shoulder. Maybe he's more comfortable with that flap instead of the extra padded material up by the shoulder. Just a guess. And that's around the plate.
Well, before the flaps came into being, that side, the left shoulder of the catcher, was always wider than the other. A, because there were more right-handed hitters, and B, because catchers were right-handed, easier to throw. And then somebody came up with the good idea to put that flap over there so it didn't impede their throwing motion.
Up the middle. That skipped past the umpire, and a bad throw by Escobar puts Brzezinski at first with one out. So AJ rolls it out to the shortstop. Escobar with the shift arm was the turn man, and his throw sailed high, and one is out, one is on.
Mike Estabrook, the second base umpire, had to do some fancy footwork too. Well, that was a hard one, coming across the bag really toward right field to then throw back. So no double play.
And Uribe, the batter, he rolled out his first time and fouls it straight back. It's 0-1. Washington's made 45 errors this year.
15 by Desmond.
That's hard to believe. And this is a very important year for the national shortstop. He's a free agent at the end of the year. And already turned down a six-figure. We'll take that back. A 9-figure contract offer from the Nationals. Over $100 million was offered him, and he turned it down.
Mercy.
1-1 pitch is down the right field line. That's pushed toward the seats. It's 1-2 for Uribe.
By contrast to their 45 errors, the Braves have committed 38. And the most by any one player is Uribe, 5, but not all of those with Atlanta.
Well, Washington has to clean that up if they want to advance in postseason play. They're errorless so far tonight. Pitch, and Uribe didn't get it. Blazing fastball from Strasburg takes care of the Braves' third baseman. That's strikeout number 4, and 2 men are out.
Hey, he's used that high fastball a couple of times tonight with great success. Up and in. No chance to catch up to that one, and hard to lay off. I mean, they've got to be pleased with what they've seen tonight.
First start since May 29th in the big leagues for Strasburg. No idea of pitch count or limitations for the big right-hander, who's up to 64 pitches. Nothing in 1.
I alluded to his wildness in the zone earlier, and by that 45 innings, 64 hits coming in, 6 homers for a guy that last year led the National League in strikeouts at 242 and went 14-11 with an ERA in the low 3s.
Oh, 2 for Chris, and he laid off that high fastball. Chris now 9 for 30 in his career against Steven Strasburg. And after a second inning single to try to keep the inning alive. And he backed away. 2 balls, 2 strikes. We're in the 4th. 2-0 Washington. Just joining us, we had a 2-hour and 12-minute rain delay before the first pitch. Alex Wood has started for the Braves and is still in there here in the fourth. A.J. Pierzynski leads at first, and the pitch is cut on and missed. And Strasburg has 5 strikeouts through 4 innings. He's got a good fastball tonight. And Atlanta has yet to score. It's 2-0 Washington. Ramos, Espinosa, and more coming up. Bryce Harper 0 for 2 tonight. Steven Strasburg 5 strikeouts, and Alex Wood down a couple of runs as we head to the bottom of the 4th inning. Those were our great clips of the game. Wilson Ramos leads things off. Mentioned a couple of times the Nationals Tampa Bay series. Wilson Ramos had some history. Tuesday the 16th of June. Washington beat Tampa Bay 16-4. That was the day where all the position players got to pitch in the big leagues, and Wilson Ramos hit 2 homers off position players in this ballpark against Tampa Bay. Jake Elmore and Nick Franklin gave up long balls to the Nationals catcher. Danny Espinosa had a 5-for-5 game that night. Deep short and through for Ramos. Third time tonight, Alex had the leadoff man reach.
Yeah, he's been in the stretch all night except for the 2nd inning. Another pitch up above the belt, able to turn on it. Alex had a hard time getting the ball down tonight.
He's kept it in the park, but Washington was 6 hits already.
Yeah, and a very manageable game at this point.
Espinosa flying out his first time. This man has been a tough out for the Braves all year. Think so much about Zimmerman and Harper and Rendon and Worth and Span. Well, maybe forget about Espinosa. You do so at your own peril. He's 11 for 23 against the Braves this year. And this one scooped up by Uribe. Nice pick. Peterson fires to first and not in time. Ramos forced at second. Espinosa beats the ramp at first. 1 on, 1 out.
This was just a little bobble by Uribe. Good turn by Jace. Good hard throw. But Espinosa able to leg it out. Tell you what, Juan turned in some spectacular double plays at home in that series against the Mets.
Tyler Moore bats. This matchup, a battle of the Bulldogs. Alex Wood from the University of Georgia, Tyler Moore from Mississippi State. That's a little low. 2 balls, no strikes.
Back-to-back changeups, though, in a good spot.
Ball 3. Taylor plated the second Washington run. He waits on deck. That missed badly inside. 2 on with 1 out. First walk for Wood. And here is Michael Taylor. Not sure when Span is eligible for free agency, but if it's soon, I would think this young man would be a possible replacement for him in center.
Yeah, nice insurance for that spot. They like him a lot.
That was taken low. Ball 1.
He's had more than just a handful of at-bats against Alex Wood, too. He's now 3 for 7 off of him. J. Brzezinski reminding Alex to get on top. Arm angle was dropping a little.
Two balls, 1 strike.
Just not offering. Trying to keep the ball away from him and missing his spots by just a little bit, but Taylor's not even looking twice at him.
Strasburg discussing strategy with Rick Shue, the Washington hitting coach. Three balls, 1 strike. Line past Uribe into left field, a hit. Here comes Espinosa around third. Perez's throw to the plate will be late. Taylor's 2 for 2. He brings home Espinosa, and Washington's lead is now 3-0.
Had to make a better pitch on 3-1, and he didn't miss it. It's just funny how things work. It's funny in this case, but like in the 3rd inning, Taylor led off with a single, and the bobble by Maben allowed him to go to second. Of course, he stole third, but the bobble's really what set that run up. This one, if it wasn't for the bobble by Uribe, they might have turned the double play, and it wouldn't have been such a damaging inning.
So now Strasburg hits with 2 on, 1 in, and 1 out. Washington leads 3-0. And Strasburg with a bunt, and it's a good one. Flip to first in time. That's a 3-4 sacrifice. His third sacrifice of the year. And we go back to the top, and Denard Span, who's already 2 for 2. Action begins in the Braves bullpen. David Artzma has begun to loosen up.
Couple pitches up to Span have allowed him an opportunity to drive the ball, one off the wall to right, and one through the hole on the left.
How about his batting stance? Looks like he's sitting on one of those folding chairs you'll see at a golf course.
How about his front foot?
Put it right back toward the catcher. And the crouch right there.
Yeah, it's unusual in that he's got that quick crouch, which causes his head to move as the pitch is being delivered. That's works for him, but wouldn't work for a lot of people because of all the head movement.
Out of play foul, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Big sequence in the game for Alex Wood. Washington's up 3. They've got 2 more in scoring position.
They need to put him away. They weren't able to do that in the 3rd inning. Got ahead of him in the count.
See if that sets up the outside corner. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Good pitch. Two-seamer running in on him.
Line to second, and that's going to end the inning. So the Nationals pick up a 3rd run on 2 hits. They leave 2 runners stranded, and we head to the 5th. It's 3-0 Washington. Bryce Harper has 24 homers this year, named the last Nat or Expo with a 40-homer season. I think we've had this before, haven't we?
I think this is being, I think we're being taunted here by the Queen of Trivia, Payne, who's back in the saddle.
This is either someone we've guessed before, or it's one of those that it's never happened before. Swinging bunt off the bat of Simmons. Ramos makes the play, 1 out.
Last Nat or Expo with 40. Vladimir Guerrero.
That's as good a guess as any at this point.
Soriano.
He had a 40-40 year with these guys. And that's a strike. I think that's the answer. He had that great year and then went to the Cubs and got hurt and was never the same, much to the dismay of the Cubs faithful. Yuri Perez tried to bunt, fouled it back. It's 0-2.
Steven Strasburg has not pitched against the Braves this year, but as we said at the beginning, a 4-7 record career-wise, 4.24 ERA. This is one of his better efforts that we've seen against Atlanta in recent years. He's maintained 96 to 97 all night. But he caught a huge break when that storm went through and cooled everything off for him.
Braves are catching the national staff at a real bad time. They've given up 1 earned run in the last 27 2/3 innings. Gonzalez, Scherzer, and Joe Ross, who was sent down to make room for Strasburg in rotation. All Ross did was strike out 11 men in his start on the 19th against the Pirates, but he was sent out. And that's fouled away. It's 2-2 to Yuri Perez. At least head-to-head with Strasburg, you know when you're here, you're going to have a dogfight. That one's hit toward left. And a long run is going to be unsuccessful for Michael Taylor. That's over his head and up against the Braves bullpen fence. So Yuri Perez into second with a double. And that's the first extra base hit for the Braves tonight.
He laid off the high fastball. He jumped away from a breaking ball inside, and he really stayed on that pitch and put a terrific swing on it. And Yuri Perez seems to do something good just about every start so far.
First big league double, 5th hit as a Brave, and now Alex Wood bats. Don't count out Alex. I recall he had a 3-hit game against the Nationals back in May.
Yeah, Jordan Zimmerman.
Perez can fly. Let's see if the Braves can get a run back. One ball, one strike. What I was trying to make before the Perez hit, as tough as Strasburg is in this park, when he pitches at Turner Field, it's like a nightmare for him. That park, Marlins Park, Two of the parts in the division he does not have much success in.
I'm surprised. Miami controlled climate.
1-2 pitch is in the dirt. And 2 balls, 2 strikes. And here are the home numbers for Steven Strasburg. Elite company.
Since 2013. A couple of Braves in there as well. Shelby combined St. Louis and Atlanta. And Julio coming off that great start Sunday.
Shelby pitches here tomorrow night. Time to get him a win. 2-2 is outside of the pitcher. Jace Peterson's next.
Can't think of a better time for his first walk.
First 3-ball count of the night. And he just lost the pitcher. So the door is open for Atlanta. And Jace Peterson could tie the game with 1 swing of the bat. And that will draw a visit from Steve McCatty and the catcher Wilson Ramos.
And with his pitch count at 83, their bullpen stirring around a little bit too. I know one guy, the happiest guy in this ballpark about Freddie Freeman not being here is Steve McCann. Because he knows that the Nats have not figured out a way to get him out.
Freddie Freeman, 13 hits and 25 at bats against Washington this year. And they'll not only miss him in this series, but when Washington comes back to Atlanta to play the Braves in the first days of July. As Jace Peterson has flied out and struck out. A high fastball got him in the 3rd inning.
Put a real good swing on the ball though in the 1st inning.
Thinking about a homer, didn't get it. Strike 1.
Get that one down just a notch though. Again, you see it so well and hard to get on top of it, hard to catch up to.
Breaking ball, a strike. Peterson said that ball was on the ground.
PNC Bank box track shows that it caught the bottom of the line. It sure looked low.
Now he's really got to protect. 0-2. One ball, 2 strikes. Missed inside. It's 2-2. Here the Braves fans down below us trying to start the tomahawk chant and chop.
I don't know if he'll try it 2-2 and risk going to 3-2, but I'm surprised they haven't tried to go back up the ladder on him.
Around the plate. He's gone to a 3-ball count on back-to-back hitters. And now it's getting very interesting. Cameron Maybin on deck.
They've got a lefty loosening in the pin. So what does he come back with? His best pitch of the night, fastball?
He did. And Jace didn't get it. That's the great equalizer, isn't it? 96-mile-an-hour gas from Strasburg.
Yeah, and it was right at the top of the zone this time. That was a strike. Jace just couldn't catch up to it.
But Strasburg not out of trouble yet. Cameron Maybin is the batter. You know of his good work with runners in scoring position all year. Let's see if he can come through with a run scoring hit. Shot to right, out of play. Maybin now 4th in baseball with a .421 average, with men at second and third base this year. No swing.
When you've got a guy that throws this hard, it's a little more difficult to take the approach that Cameron has, that Chris Johnson has, if they pitch you inside. Because that ball's got so much life to it, it's hard to take that inside out approach and get the barrel there in time. And we saw that when he struck out Chris his last time up. After the walk to the pitcher, he's come back and made some good pitches to Jace and to Cameron.
Long inning for Strasburg. Here's the 25th pitch, I should say, to Frame. Perez and Wood, the runners, and the 1-2 pitch.
And up, and Cameron got a piece of it.
Felipe Rivero is the man throwing in the Washington pen. Perez with a 1-out double. Wood with a 1-out walk. Maybin hits with 2 outs. Ground ball to second. Rendon's got it, and the peg to first in time, and Strasburg's out of 5th inning trouble. Rendon, Escobar, and Harper coming up. Steven Strasburg is back, and he's shutting out Atlanta tonight. For the Nationals, Alex Wood trying to win his 5th game on the road for the Braves tonight.
And really some clutch hitting by the Washington Nationals that have given Strasburg the 3-0 lead. Clutch single by Rendon in the first. Single by Span in the third after an error had set them up for an RBI in the 3rd inning. And then just a bobble on a potential double play ball in the 4th inning set up a chance for another run. That was in the 4th. Alex has not pitched badly by any means, but they've taken advantage of every scoring opportunity.
And we'll see what Alex has in store for us. He had to run the bases during that 5th inning. And he'll have the talented young trio of Rendon, Escobar, and Harper to tangle with here in the Washington fifth. Action has begun in the Washington bullpen. It's Tanner Roark who's begun to loosen up now. There's a whole lot of subterfuge, I guess, publicly about who was going to start this game. It wasn't announced officially until 4:30 that Steven Strasburg was going to get the starting assignment for the Nationals. However, Freddie Gonzalez was apparently made aware that that was Washington's choice a couple of days ago. Washington did not want that announcement made publicly because they had not yet told Joe Ross that he was the odd man out in rotation.
Subterfuge, is that like nuclear?
However you want it to be at 11 o'clock at night after a 2-hour rain line drive by Rendon into right field. And a young man that's getting his hitting shoes on in 2015. He's 3 for 3 tonight. He brings out his best against the Braves.
Yeah, he came in hitting .230, just 2 for his last 16. But everybody said, well, he's better than that. He's coming around. Just kind of fought that off. He didn't have much work in there, but found a dry spot. He's a great hitter.
You know, Escobar.
First pitch. Careful.
I recall the Nationals traded for Escobar with a plan of playing him at second base. They had Rendon for third, Desmond to play short, Zimmerman was going to play first. Hasn't worked out that way for the Nationals. Double play ball. See if Atlanta can turn this one cleanly. They do, and that's the second double play by Escobar tonight. And 2 are out.
Only 2 lefties in the lineup tonight against Alex Wood, Span and Harper, and they have both hit the ball hard every time up. Span's 2 for 3 with a line out. Harper's line to second, and I don't know how he hit the last pitch the way he did. A.J. Brzezinski was kind of sliding out into the right-handed batter's box, and Harper roped it to right. Right at Markakis.
To second. Peterson's got it. Bryce Harper is 0 for 3. That's the good news tonight. Bad news is Washington leads 3-0, and we're heading to the 6th.
Area Mazda dealers. Driving matters.
3-0 Washington here at Nationals Park. Steven Strasburg is done after 5 innings of 4-hit ball. He struck out 6 and walked 1. Bryce Harper tonight is 0 for 3 and is the subject of our AT&T Viewers Trivia question. Name the last Natter Expo to have a 40 home run season.
I think Soriano.
Soriano, I think, is the answer. And it was Alfonso Soriano who hit 46 of them in 2006.
What a year. Well, this guy, I think, Chip, is the best luxury anybody in the National League East has. I don't know of another team that could start the season with a guy who went 15-10 last year with a 2.85 ERA and put him in the bullpen.
Yeah, you could make the case the Nationals now with Strasburg healthy. They have 7 potential starting candidates. Gonzalez, Scherzer, Pfister, Zimmerman, Strasburg, Ross, and Tanner Roark.
But I mean, this guy started the season in the bullpen. He wasn't even in the rotation to begin the year and have a bad month of April and get shipped to the bullpen. He made 31 starts last year, including a complete game shutout in one of them, and pitched 198 innings. 15-10. We'd like you to work out of the pen.
Fly ball to left. Taylor should measure that one up. He's got it. Markakis is the first out. Well, Roark, as a swingman for the Nationals, did get a start on June 16th. That was that 16-4 game where Ramos hit the home runs off position players. All Roark did was pitch 7 innings of 1-run ball against Tampa Bay that day, through 112 pitches in that effort.
4-pitch guys, fastball in the low 90s.
But you're right about the insurance policy with Strasburg having his injury problems. That's one candidate. Remember, Doug Pfister had some forearm problems. Is just now coming back and pitching in rotation. And Pfister on the 18th of June was beaten by Tampa Bay. He gave up 5 runs in 5 1/3 himself. Little pop on the left side of the infield. That's handled by the shortstop Espinosa. Roark's come in and gotten 2 quick outs. And here's Uribe.
So again, he's been invaluable that way. He's made 5 starts, whether they be to substitute for Strasburg or Pfister or whomever. Having a guy like that in your bullpen is unbelievable.
And insurance for Washington next year. I think Jordan Zimmerman's a free agent at the end of the season. So that's one spot that potentially is available for Washington, barring another signing or trade. 1 ball, 1 strike for Uribe. That guy's not going anywhere. Max Scherzer. Question was asked, were the last 2 starts he's made in the major leagues the most dominant back-to-back starts in the history of the game? A 16 strikeout 1-hitter against Milwaukee, and then the near perfect game last time out against the Pirates. We'll discuss that when we head to the bottom of the 7th inning. Roark works a 1-2-3 6th. Washington leads by 3 in game 1.
Myers cooks at the center. Andrew turns tail, still going at the wall, up the wall. He made the catch. What a play!
The Spider-Man catch.
1999. John Smoltz, the pitcher, so I'm sure Andrew will be mentioned prominently in his Hall of Fame speech with help like that. What a catch. What a center fielder.
Wilson Ramos leads off and takes the ball from Alex Wood. Ramos 1 for 2 tonight. The Nationals have out-hit the Braves 8-4. They've outscored us 3-0. Single runs in the first, third, and fourth. And deep short, and Simmons can't get it. Ramos a 2-hit game.
Leadoff guy on. Yeah, I miss being able to watch Andrew make those kinds of plays. I miss listening to the guy call those catches, as I know you do.
You're not the only one.
Although I wish they built a bleeping dome on this place. Get home a lot earlier.
No, he'd already be telling you that he's going to go drive by the Treasury to look at his money.
See where my money went.
Here's Espinosa. And a quick strike. Leadoff man on in 5 of the first 6 innings for Alex tonight. That's a tough way to win on the road. Tough way to win anywhere. It's a major league pitcher. He scattered 9 hits. And fouled back and out of play. It's 0-2. Boy, the Mets troubles continue. Their road trip, an abysmal one. They lost in Milwaukee tonight. 3-2. The Brewers beat them. Mets cannot score. They are 0-6 on their trip. Toronto, Atlanta, and now Milwaukee. That was a matchup with a dreadful Brewer team. They lost 8 of 9. And a rotation that's giving up runs at a frightening pace. Espinosa's down on strikes, 1 away. Mets know their organization far better than I would presume to, but they need a bat or two desperately, and they have not acquired one. Here's Tyler Moore. He has struck out and walked tonight. And this one popped up. Maven on the run. Markakis is there as well. Cameron takes over and makes the play. There's the second out. This is a big day in the history of the Nationals franchise. Everyone knows Matt Williams is the manager now. Davey Johnson preceded Matt Williams. Do you remember who the manager of the Nationals was before Davey Johnson?
Frank Robinson, I think.
Jim Riggleman.
Oh, right.
Today was the day that Jim Riggleman abruptly resigned as the skipper of the Nationals.
Yeah, I never fully understood that. I know he wanted a contract extension, but
Mets were in the middle of a great streak. They'd gone over 500. They'd won 11 of 12 games, and Jim wasn't satisfied with where he felt his standing was with the team and quit. Then Davey Johnson took over, and the Nationals took off. 1 ball and 1 strike for Michael Taylor. Dana Evelyn's joined David Arzma in the Atlanta pen. Alex Wood spots due 4th in the 7th. With the knees, a strike.
Alex had an odd start against them April 29th. He went 5 innings against the Nationals, walked 1 and struck out 8. He had some good stuff working, but he also gave up 6 hits and 5 runs. Tonight, 9 hits and 3 runs, only a couple of strikeouts, but the line is odd. It's like it's off somehow, like that night was, where he had the strikeout pitch working, didn't walk a bunch of guys, but gave up a bunch of runs. Maybe kind of like Strasburg. He was just throwing too many good strikes that got hit.
And you could make the point, as you did earlier tonight, this could very well be a 1-0 game. Sadly, though, it's not. Washington leads by 3. And a ground ball to short. Simmons will flip to second, and that's your inning. Leadoff single bears no fruit for the Nationals, and we head to the 7th. It's 3-0 in game 1.
Baseball is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day.
Beautiful night at Nationals Park, and fans stop by the Braves clubhouse store at CNN Center. You'll find a large selection of Braves t-shirts, caps, jerseys, novelties, and much, much more, like the Atlanta Braves street sign. I like that. Visit the Braves clubhouse store at CNN Center or call 404-523-5854 and get your Braves gear today. 7th inning, Tanner Roark on in relief of Steven Strasburg. And a first pitch swing by Chris Johnson is hammered foul and out of play. First time all year, Strasburg made it through 5 innings without allowing a run. Now Roark will try to gobble up a few innings, save the bullpen, and maintain a 3-run lead. Inside, even count. Good breaking ball. Missed inside at the knees. It's 2-2.
Fastball, too, to keep you honest. 94.
That's outside. It's a full count. Braves need base runners.
That's got him from the Rangers, Christian Guzman, and there was some talk today about Cole Hamels and the Texas Rangers.
Slow roller. Espinosa's got it. Ball stayed down. Tricky hop. Good play. And there's out number 1. Great game in Chicago. Cubs have the bases loaded, bottom of the 10th inning against the Dodgers. No score. Zach Greinke started that game for L.A. Last 9 games, the Dodgers have scored a grand total of 12 runs for him. He's never won a game at Wrigley Field, and the Cubs have an excellent chance to beat Kenley Jansen tonight. He's on in relief for L.A. Our next opponent is the Pirates. They're hosting Cincinnati tonight. And Pittsburgh held them off 7-6. That one to third. Nice play, Escobar, and a good throw. Got Simmons. Tough night at the plate for Escobar, but nothing wrong with the glove on that play. 2 out.
You were talking about how they signed him, or acquired him rather, to perhaps play second base, and he played second base a few games in spring training, and by all reports it was ugly. He was just kind of out of his element at second base. Better shortstop, better third baseman. Left side of the diamond much preferred by
Two balls, no strikes for Yuri Perez, who's doubled tonight.
Yeah, he put a great swing on a ball from Strasburg and an excellent at bat.
Another chance for Escobar. Friendly hop, low throw, more dug it out. And the inning is over. 2 impressive innings for Tanner Roark. 6 up, 6 down. His spot's due first in the home 7th after the stretch. Big lift for the Washington Nationals. Steven Strasburg, 5 scoreless tonight.
Well, he was aggressive with his fastball. He got ahead in the count. It took him a couple of innings to get a good feel for his breaking ball, but it was mostly fastball driven. He was pounding the zone anywhere from 96 to 98 all night long. So the Nationals are thrilled to see that after a stint on the disabled list.
Tanner Roark will be taken down, and former Brave Dan Uggla will lead off the Washington 7th. Those are Dan's numbers overall this year, but he's swinging a hot bat of late. Last 45 plate appearances, he's hitting .316 with a homer and 11 RBIs. He's also walked 7 times. It was the biggest game of his season, maybe his life, was that game back in Atlanta, a 5 RBI game, April 28th.
He's 6 for 13 against his old club this year with a homer and 8 RBIs.
This figures to be Alex Wood's final inning. He's due first in the 8th. It's a 3-0 score. And Dan takes ball 2. Atlanta tried everything with Dan to try to get to the root of his batting troubles. LASIK surgery, contact lenses, you name it. As the ball is hit towards short, Simmons has it. And Uggla is retired for out number 1. Marquise Grissom noticed something while watching a game. Dan Uggla called him and said, I know what your problem is. Apparently there were some concussion-like symptoms that were affecting Dan's vision. He would move his head and he couldn't focus on the baseball. And he went to Las Vegas, got some medical help, got that straightened out, and has been able to stick with Washington all year. One out. Denard Span, the batter. 2 more hits for the Washington leadoff man. His 4th multi-hit game in the last 9. That's hit hard. Maven on the run. Good jump. And he makes a fine running catch to retire Span. 2 outs.
Well, that was a quick swing. Stayed back, waited on Alex Wood, and then just reacted to it and squared it up again.
Now we got to find out how to get out Rendon. He's 3 for 3 in the game. First game for Rendon against the Braves this year. He's 4 for 4.
He uses his hands so well in his swing. There's no lower body wasted motion. Quick short stride, gets his foot down quickly, and then it's all hands from there. And they're quick. Good news for you now, he can't hit into a double play.
He's done that twice already. And would have hit into a third in what would have been his 3rd double play if the Braves had handled a play by Jace Peterson at second base. Good pitch, shaved the outside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike. Alex Wood hanging in there tonight. He's had leadoff batters aboard all night. He's allowed 10 hits, only 3 runs. And a grounder toward third. Uribe's got it. Flip to second is in time, and give Alex Wood a pat on the back. He saved the bullpen. Couple of innings at least. Braves will go to their bench in the 8th. It's only a 3-0 game. Night, Tuesday, July 21st, when the Braves take on the Dodgers. The first 20,000 fans through the door get a bobblehead featuring Freddie Freeman hugging Johnny Gomes. Don't miss out on this limited edition bobblehead. Get your tickets online at Braves.com/tickets. Freddie's not here. Johnny Gomes is. He's going to pinch hit to start the 8th, and he'll face lefty Matt Thornton.
See Thornton's numbers on the year, looking for his first decision, which if you're a reliever you prefer it only be a win somehow. Always tough on lefties. "26 outings for him and only pitched 17 2/3 innings.
Gomes 5 for 18 as a pinch hitter. And takes a strike.
You're right about Alex Wood, though. Definite tip of the cap to save the bullpen a little bit, but also has given his team a chance to win the ball games. Kept them in it.
Man on the mound for the Nationals. Another left-handed pitcher. And a real head-scratching move. We thought last year. Remember, this guy was with the Yankees. They just waved him. And he was there for the taking, and the Nationals scooped him up. This guy throws hard.
Yeah, 91 to 94 with a slider. Wasn't that long ago. He was one of the best left-handed relievers in the game when he was with the White Sox.
The Yankees released him in early August, and he went straight to the Washington bullpen. He was a big pickup. There's the first out. Gomes is retired. And back to the top of the order, and Jace Peterson. Thornton played baseball and basketball at Grand Valley, Michigan State University. He had a sports scholarship there, and it was a basketball scholarship, not baseball.
One of Tom Glevin's type of guys.
You bet. And durable. He's pitched 55 games or more every year since 2005. First round pick by the Mariners in 1998. Traded to the White Sox for Joe Borchard. Then he went to the Red Sox, Yankees, and now with the Nationals. He's either really working hard or he needs to bump up the SPF.
Yeah.
Swing and a miss. Peterson struck out for the 3rd time tonight. Ten straight Braves have been retired by the Nationals trio of Strasburg, Roark, and Thornton now. And Cameron Maben the hitter. He's 0 for 3. Haven't seen many nights like tonight where neither Peterson nor Maben have reached even once.
Well, that's been a key. It was a key for Strasburg, and I'm sure they talked about it in their meeting with the pitchers that you got to try and keep the top 2 guys off.
Escobar foul at 3rd. Throws a seed to 1st, but it's a foul ball.
And let's face it, the first 2 guys in the order have been kind of a key to the offense and getting it going.
Looks like Brandon Kniff will be coming in for Alex Wood. Eveland and Ardsma were up earlier. Neither has pitched. That ball smoked towards center. Span will admire that one. That's way out of here. Cameron Maybin with a long home run to straightaway center field, and that averts the shutout. And the Braves are now down 3-1 and still have 4 outs left in the quiver.
In the quiver, like that. Snaps the Nationals shutout streak at 31+ innings too. Good extension. Home run number 6. That ties Kelly Johnson for second on the team behind Freddie Freeman.
This would be a great time for Markakis to go deep. A.J. Pierzynski is on deck. Markakis 2 for 3 in the game. 3-1 ball game now. And a swing and a miss. The Nationals bullpen has a different look to it and a familiar face for Braves fans. David Carpenter was designated for assignment by New York. Washington made a deal, and now he's in their bullpen. And right now he's loosening up.
That home run by Maybin, his first since May 27th against Zach Greinke.
To second and under the glove of Rendon. He has not been able to bend over hardly at all tonight. That's 2 balls that he didn't dive for.
Yeah, he didn't lay out for it all.
And that'll bring the tying run to the plate. And you know, A.J. Pierzynski knows Thornton very well. They were teammates with the White Sox. We'll see who, if anyone, has the advantage. This is what the Braves have done all year, trying to give their opponent a finish. They've scored an 8th inning run. And a strike. If it gets to Uribe, you're going to see David Carpenter. No swing, even count. And wouldn't that be interesting? Uribe versus Carpenter.
Again.
Swing, line drive, base hit. 3 straight Atlanta hits, 2 of them by lefties versus the left-handed pitching Matt Thornton. And now Matt Williams and Steve McCatty have a decision, and we are going to have Uribe versus Carpenter in the Atlanta 8th. The Braves, with a 2-out rally in the 8th inning, have made it a 3-1 game. Juan Uribe strides to the batter's box. Braves are still alive late. here is the rematch of David Carpenter versus Juan Uribe. A painful memory for the Braves in the playoffs a couple of years ago. Remember, Juan Uribe hit a 2-run homer for the Dodgers that clinched the series 4-3 in Los Angeles. If Uribe connects here, guess what the score would be? 4-3.
Carpenter's only given up 1 hit in his 3 2/3 innings pitched for the Nats. Throws hard, good slider.
And missed high with ball 1. Markakis and Przinsky, the Braves runners. Outfield plays very deep, as you'd expect. And a good cut, fouled straight back. Count when Uribe homered was 2-2. He was asked to bunt to that at bat, believe it or not. He did his manager a whole lot better. And Dodger Stadium went crazy.
Hanging slider.
One ball, one strike. $95-mile-an-hour fastball.
One had a good rip at it. He had some trouble catching up to some high fastballs from Strasburg tonight. That one was a little lower. That one was more tomahawk high. Still couldn't get up to it.
Well, here's that fateful 2-2 count. Will he hang a slider? Let's see. Fastball, fly ball to right, and playable for Harper. He's got it, and David Carpenter pitches out of further trouble for the Nationals. Cameron Maybin's homer, the first run of the night for Atlanta. It's a 2-run game in the home 8th. Those are your Toyota key plays tonight. Washington with 3 runs on 10 hits. Braves got a Cameron Maybin homer a moment ago. And now Dana Evelyn will come on and pitch for the Braves. He'll face Bryce Harper to start the Washington 8th inning.
And we saw Kenneth loosening up, and I wonder if the home run changed the thought. You know what? We got a lefty leading off. Let's get Evelyn in here, try to hold him right there, and see if the Braves can catch up in the ninth.
Harper is 0 for 3 tonight, and is backing away from that pitch inside. The reason why Harper's doing such great things this year is he's figured out left-handed pitching. Came in hitting .348 against lefties this year. .345 overall. That's swept away. No swing. 2-0. Braves bullpen last 5 games has been terrific. 1 earned run, only 2 walks in the last 12 1/3 innings.
Talked about Harper last time we saw these guys, and about how violent his hip turn is, and how he almost winds up like a pitcher.
Dribbler toward first. Chris Johnson will flip to the pitcher, and he got Harper, who had a green light on 3-0 and is 0 for 4 tonight.
And here comes Freddie.
So down 2 runs, the Braves can play matchup. Evelyn got the lefty, and now Freddie Gonzalez will go to his bullpen with the righties Ramos and the switch hitting Espinoza due up for Washington. 3-1 game, bottom of the 8th.
Lottery and Toyota.
3-1 Washington. Star Wars fans, join us at Turner Field on Friday, July 3rd. Dress up as your favorite Star Wars character and march in a pregame parade around the field. The ticket package includes a limited edition Jason Grilli Rebel bobblehead, a ticket to the game, and get you onto the field for the pregame parade. That's a ticket package that you have to purchase to participate in all the fun on July 3rd. Go to Braves.com/Star Wars for all the rules and regulations. Brandon Kniff is on to pitch. Base is empty, 2 outs in the Nationals' 8th.
And again, hold him right there. That's his job too. Last worked on the 18th against Boston, and ending with a hit and a strikeout. No runs.
First pitch ripped toward left, and Perez watches that hop by. It's off the bullpen gate, and the throw into second will be late. Ramos with a rocket. He's got a 3-hit night. Man, these Nationals have some unbelievable averages against the Braves.
They sure do. Fastball belt high. That's been a problem tonight. Belt high pitches, which has contributed to their 11 hits. Like Perez lost that in the lights briefly. That's 10 hits for Ramos this year against the Braves in 19 at bats.
Span, Rendon, and Ramos are combined 24 for 51 against Braves pitching this year. Espinosa came in 11 for 22. He's 0 for 3. Nationals now 11 hits. As we told you, 10 or more hits 7 times in their last 10 games. And this is a night where Bryce Harper got the ball out of the infield once. That's hit to left field, a base hit. Ramos had to hold up. Espinosa might have broken his bat, but he's got a hit. First and third now for Tyler Moore.
These are big runs out there. Need to be left stranded. Braves got a run on the home run by Maben, but they left a couple of guys on base against the bullpen. I'm sure Drew Storen will be ready to come in the ninth. But Kenneth's got to figure out a way to get a ground ball here, get out of the inning, get a strikeout, and a ground ball, whatever the case might be, to leave that runner stranded at third.
Braves have turned 2 double plays. A third would be nice here. There's a strike. And if you'll recall, began his career in the big leagues by retiring 30 consecutive right-handed hitters. They're 5 for 60. We're 5 for 60 coming into play tonight.
Good sliders from Brandon to Moore here. Throw another one. Four in a row.
He's missed with 2 in a row, though. Even count. From 0-2 to a full count.
I agree with AJ. AJ put down a fastball 0-2 and he shook him off. Stayed with the slider. And then you get to 3-2 and you got to make a better pitch. But to give him credit, that was an off-speed pitch of some kind. There might have been a straight change.
Strike him out. Well, that's the second out of the inning.
Got away with that 3-2. Yeah. Hanging slider inside. Moore went right through it. But it worked.
Now Taylor, the last obstacle before we get to the ninth. He's 2 for 3. An RBI and a run scored. Good fastball. Strike one. In the Atlanta ninth, Chris Johnson, Andrelton Simmons, Yuri Perez are the scheduled Braves hitters. Storen, we expect, will close. Braves have Kelly Johnson, Joey Turdoslavich, Ryan Lavarnway, and Pedro Siriaco available to pinch hit. They've already used Johnny Gomes.
Saw Casey Jansen also loosening up. If somehow they get these 2 runs around, it's not a save situation, you might see him instead.
Two balls, 2 strikes. A little cue shot out towards second. Got to hurry. And Peterson did and got his man. So Kniff gave up a couple of hits, but a strikeout and a ground out keeps it a 2-run game as we go to the ninth. 3-1 Washington. At Turner Field, get your tickets today as the Braves battle the Phillies Friday, July 3rd through Sunday the 5th. What better way to celebrate Independence Day than by experiencing America's pastime and the best fireworks show in the Southeast? Go to Braves.com/tickets and plan your 4th of July trip to the ballpark today. We've completed 8 innings in Washington. Joe, let's check out tonight's game summary brought to you by Captain D's.
Well, offense was hard to come by tonight with Strasburg coming back from the DL and pitching as well as he did. But Nick Markakis with a good night, 3 hits, and Cameron Maben accounting for the Braves' only run with that 2-out home run that he hit in the 8th inning off Matt Thornton. But Strasburg and Rendon have been the highlights for the Nats. Rendon, first game against the Braves for the year, a 4-hit night for him. And the Nats with some clutch hitting when they've had some guys in scoring position early in the game.
So now the Braves have to find a way to beat Drew Storen, who's 20 out of 21 in saves. And they'll start the inning with Joey Turdoslavich, just up from AAA after Freddie Freeman was placed on the disabled list today. And Joey had a good cut. Strike one.
Last time we saw Joey hit a pinch hit homer for the Braves to win a ball game. Storen, you saw those 4 walks. That's it. Against 35 strikeouts.
Up the middle. Rendon to his right. Got to that one in good shape. And there's the first out of the ninth. Andrelton Simmons is 0 for 3. Crowd tonight of 28,344. Many of them racing to the D.C. Metro. Little squibber into center. That's going to drop for a hit. That'll bring the tying run to the plate.
That's what they needed, was at least one base runner.
And Yuri Perez, the next hitter. If he reaches, you'll see Kelly Johnson, I'm guessing. Perez has a double in 3 trips. And a strike. Strasburg, Roark, Thornton, Carpenter, and Storen as we've reached the midnight hour in Washington. Last train leaves in 17 minutes. Oh, 2.
Storen changed his delivery about a year ago, maybe a little longer, where he used to kind of have a weird kind of toe tap before he made his stride to home plate. Now it's a very deliberate leg kick and then a pause. But before there was no leg kick.
Almost a slide step for Storen on that pitch, and he struck out Perez for the second out.
Yeah, this is almost like a quick pitch with that quick stride. And Perez couldn't pull the trigger.
And it will be Kelly Johnson in the ninth. Try to keep the game alive for the Braves. Low, ball 1. Kelly's hit a rough spell at the plate, 2 for his last 19.
Well, he's a good fastball hitter, as we have said repeatedly. First time in a while during this rough patch where he's had a good count. Seems like he's been behind in the count every time he's gone up there. Oh for 1 in his career against Storen.
Up and away. 3 balls, no strikes. Another lefty bat with some power is on deck. That's Jace Peterson.
I'd be tempted to let Kelly swing here. 3-0. The other side of it. Tying runs are on if he walks him. He's taken all the way.
So now it's 3-1.
Ooh.
Pretty good cut.
Good hack.
But now the Braves down to their last strike. Simmons will be off with the pitch. Moore will play behind him at first base. Outfield very deep. And here comes the 3-2 pitch to Kelly Johnson. Lined off the pitcher's glove. That trickles to the left side of the infield, and everybody's safe. A pinch hit single for Kelly Johnson.
This definitely would have been up the middle and might have put runners at first and third, but that would have been the only advantage of it going through, was to get an extra base for Anderton. But still, tying runs aboard. The Atlanta Braves offense once again giving the team a chance to, at the very least, tie it up. They will not go quietly.
First pinch hit for Kelly Johnson this year, and now Peterson. Jace 0 for 4 tonight. Ball 1.
And laid off that high one.
That's low.
Behind in the count to Kelly. Now 2-0 to Jace. And again, a guy who rarely walks anybody, usually gets ahead in the count and then kind of dictates.
There's a strike.
Still, have your plan, stick to it. Look for a pitch in a certain zone until you get 2 strikes. Stay with it.
That was high. It's 3-1.
That's a good sign. That's the pitch been giving him fits tonight. Now that strike zone gets real tiny. About softball size. You're looking for it in a certain spot.
Peterson was ready to flip the bat. Call the strike.
Something down low in the zone. Looked like a 2-seamer that had a little sinking action to it. First one of those he's thrown.
So again, Atlanta down to its final strike. Runners will be off with the pitch. 3-2, 3-1 Washington lead in the 9th. Fought off. Storen is due to let one slip away. His lone blown save came April 21st against the Cardinals. He's 20 of 21.
Well, he's having to earn this one.
Fought it off again.
Yeah, in a hard breaking ball that might not have been a strike. Jace couldn't take the chance of it going by without trying to go after it. Actually, it probably was a strike. But a gutsy pitch by Storen.
Pitch number 8 in this 9th inning at bat. It's high. The Braves have loaded the bases in the 9th. And Cameron Maybin, the only Brave to touch the plate, will be the hitter. Kelly Johnson and Jace Peterson with big 2-out at bats give the Braves a chance now with a single to potentially tie it up.
Yeah, they were great at bats. Kelly got ahead 3-0 and then hit that rocket off the pitcher's glove. But Jace battling too. That was just an excellent at bat by him to lay off those high pitches he's been swinging at tonight, and that included ball 4.
8th inning. Here's how the Braves scored their run.
Matt Thornton. Straightaway center.
Quick meeting over. Storen back to work. And maybe a check swing, just foul past first. That almost turned into gold for Atlanta.
Wow.
That would have tied it for sure, and who knows, Peterson might have been able to score.
Moore's well off the line. That goes over the top of the bag. He doesn't get it.
Keep in mind, too, very wet outfield, very soggy conditions. That might factor in if Maben splits a gap. He's down a strike. Popped up. Behind the plate, Ramos is going to have a play. He makes it, and the Nationals have held on to beat the Braves by a 3-1 final score. Atlanta missed tying it by inches on a check swing down the first base line. And Steven Strasburg, back from injury, is back in the win column for Washington. He beats Alex Wood. Storen saves his 21st, and the Braves are still winless in Washington in 2015. That's your final. We'll recap it right after this.